So thanks so much for taking a couple of minutes to speak with us today about the hearing and what you heard. And what did you want to principally learn from the mayor of New York City today? What was your motivation?
So I want to see how the mayor thinks and what he thinks is the correct direction for New York and what he thinks is important issues and not important issues. And I want to see if he understands the reality of what he's trying to do.
In terms of your questioning, obviously everyone has their own thoughts as to what they want to convey, both for their constituents and also what kind of answers they're looking for. Where did you fall in that balance?
Well, you know, I kind of diverted away from the ordinary questions that the other legislators have for him. It's all about the fiscal situations. You know, you're short $12 billion. How are you going to pay for this, the tax this? You know, I said, you know what, let me get up close and personal. Let me bring him the concerns of my particular district in southern Brooklyn. Yeah. Let him know what our constituents are saying.
What do you think they're concerned about right now?
Oh, they're concerned.
What are they telling you?
Well, they're telling me all kinds of stuff, and I had 100 questions written down. They're concerned about their safety in the subway. A few days ago, I had a 20-year-old constituent get punched in the head in the subway at Union Square. She didn't report it. So they can't tell me that crime is down. It's not down. I was a cop for 27 years. I know crime is underreported. It is often misclassed. So people don't feel safe in the subways. They're harassed. Sometimes the women get catcalled. They don't feel great. They don't feel very secure. The parents are worried about the GNT school programs. They're worried about taking away the honors program. You know, why do we want to challenge excellence? We need to keep these excellent kids together so that they can excel together for down the road. The parents, they're complaining about the school food, and I brought that up in the hearing. Mm-hmm. The school food is terrible. It gets thrown out by all the kids. It's not being used. It's money wasted, $360 million last year. They're worried about why wasn't the snow cleaned off the corners, the bus stops, the subways. It was very slow. They did it. Yeah. I gotta give a shout out to DSNY, Sanitation, New York's strongest. They did a great job for what they had. You know, without a winter plan, I didn't get to that question. I wanted to ask Mayor, what plan did he have in place for our winter?
What do you think of his responses to that in terms of, you know, maybe even beyond what you asked in terms of making the city more affordable?
Well, I don't think he answered any of my questions at all. I asked him where's the garbage cans that we all ordered and that the manufacturer apparently took off of the money. And now you either got to refund the money to the citizens or get them their garbage cans and don't ticket them.
Yeah, and you talked a bit about the budget and obviously some of his proposals in trying to fund what he campaigned upon. His explanations for that is that the wealthy, obviously, you want to make sure you tax them more. What did you make of his argument for that?
So I want to say to him that, you know, the governor doesn't seem to be on board with him. And ultimately, if that's the only way he's depending on to fuel and fund his initiatives, it's not going to work because you can only milk a cow so much before they walk away. And when people talk with their feet and they move out of the state, where are you then? The only reason why we had an extra windfall this year in New York is because of the robust season that Wall Street had for the year. And the part is the part that they don't tell you. Where did that robust season come from? It didn't come from, it certainly wasn't the economic policies of New York and the CDC. It certainly wasn't the policies of the city. It is the direct result of our federal economic policies. That's why Wall Street had a great season, great year, and that's where they were able to pay all that extra, $5-6 billion in tax revenues.
Does that encourage you from the state standpoint of getting these revenues, if it is doing so well, knowing that Trump's going to be in office for another 3 years?
Yeah, it does. It does encourage me, but you know, we as Republicans, we have a sense of fiscal responsibility. Right now, there's a slush fund laying around in the energy sector. And you know, we propose, hey, you know what, we can do one of several things with this money. One, we can give it back to everybody, split the money, and all the ratepayers will get some money back. Now, that's really putting money back into taxpayers' pockets. Or we can have a tax holiday for utility bills. That will save everybody, every ratepayer for electricity and natural gas, about 25 to 30% for the year. Now, I personally, in my house, pay about maybe $12,000 to $14,000 a year in electricity and natural gas. That would save me $3,000 to $4,000. And that goes to every one of my constituents in my neighborhood. They're middle-class people. They're struggling. A family of 4 or 5 people going out to dinner is $500 easily.
And finally, as we look forward here, and you mentioned the governor's role in this budget, along with the mayor and the assembly and now the Senate chamber, what do you see? And we've heard some of the proposals come out of your conference over the course of the last few weeks, and now as we started the session. What is your role here as we move closer to the one House budget and eventually the final budget? And what do you want to be heard at this point? How do you want to vocalize your stance?
I want to move away from concepts and ideology. And I know everybody, both sides, the governor, the Democrats, and the Republicans, are always talking about putting money, making more affordable for our New Yorkers, and putting money in their pockets. Let's really do that. Here we have a beautiful chance to do that. Let's do it.